escalates the war with missile attacks on a joint UK-US military base. One was shot down and the other failed to hit its target. The Foreign Secretary condemns the attack.
We will provide defensive support against these reckless Iranian threats.
Also tonight, more queues for the meningitis vaccination as the number of confirmed cases increases.
Crossing is a beauty! Danny Welbeck again!
And the kings of K-pop are back. The BTS comeback show. This is ITV News with Sameena Ali Khan. Good evening. Iran has fired 2 ballistic missiles towards the Diego Garcia facility in the Chagos Islands, the joint UK-US airbase in the Indian Ocean. It's understood that one was shot down by an American warship and the other failed to reach its target. This was before Prime Minister Keir Starmer extended the use of British airbases by America. He's now given the US permission to use them to strike Iranian sites that may be targeting the vital Strait of Hormuz oil route. While amid more attacks and suffering on the ground, President Trump has written on social media that he is considering winding down operations against Iran. Neil Connery has the latest.
Diego Garcia is a critical military base for both Britain and America, hosting bombers and nuclear submarines. Its location in the Indian Ocean offers a strategic advantage. For the first time ever, it's been targeted by 2 Iranian missiles. America says it shot one down, the other missed, but this attack is significant.
As the Prime Minister has made clear, we will provide defensive support against these reckless Iranian threats. But we have not been and we continue not to be involved in offensive action. And we want to see the swiftest possible resolution. As he's made clear, we will not be drawn into a wider conflict.
Until now, experts believed Iranian missiles could only reach 2,000 kilometers. Diego Garcia is twice as far, a dramatic increase in range. The attack happened before the UK announced US forces could use bases like Diego Garcia to launch strikes on Iranian missile sites targeting the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's foreign minister responded to that by posting, "Mr. Starmer is putting British lives in danger by allowing UK bases to be used for aggression against Iran." It appears Britain is being drawn further into a war with no clear exit strategy from the man leading it.
I don't want to do a ceasefire. You know, you don't do a ceasefire when you're literally obliterating the other side. They don't have a navy, they don't have an air force.
But a few hours later, President Trump said, "We are getting very close to meeting our objectives as we consider winding down our great military efforts in the Middle East." A short time after that, Iran claimed its Natanz nuclear facility was targeted in strikes. As attacks on energy facilities in the region increase, the UK has joined other countries expressing its readiness to contribute to efforts to protect the vital Strait of Hormuz. Neil Connery, ITV News.
Here, there are political calls for the Prime Minister to face the Commons vote over his extension of the use of British airbases by the Americans. Fred Dimbleby is in Downing Street. And Fred, some politicians seem to fear that this could very slowly draw the UK further into the war.
Yes, that's right. The government says that they haven't changed their position, that these US operations are limited, the UK isn't directly involved, and ultimately they are defensive. But I think it's fair to say that some of the Prime Minister's critics aren't exactly buying that. Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the opposition, calling this the mother of all U-turns, and other opposition leaders calling for a debate and a vote in Parliament on the issue. And some Labour backbenchers are supporting that move because they say they fear the lessons of the past of Iraq and Afghanistan haven't been learnt.
I'm really worried because we've been here before. both in terms of Iraq and Afghanistan. I've been in Parliament now nearly 30 years during both of those wars, and this is how we got dragged in. Small steps, then eventually into the full conflagration.
And Fred, the war is having a distinct effect on the cost of living. What is the government planning about that?
Well, look, they're really concerned about this issue because, remember, this is a government that came into office promising to tackle that cost of living crisis, and its plans have at least partially been upended by this conflict. We've seen gas and oil prices increasing, the price of filling your car at the petrol and diesel pump also up. Predictions that energy bills will rise by more than £300 a year come July. The cost of government borrowing up to its highest rate in 18 years, or reaching that rate at least. And this is also having an impact on the mortgage market, with a fifth of available mortgage products being pulled from that market, and warnings about rates climbing. That all coming from the finance website Moneyfax. The PM is due to hold a COBRA meeting next week with senior cabinet ministers, as well as the governor of the Bank of England, and what comes out of that and what support the government will offer down the line will have a major impact on how much we'll feel the cost of this conflict in our pockets.
Fred, thank you. Police Scotland say an Iranian man and a Romanian woman have been charged after trying to enter the Faslane naval base on Thursday. It's home to the UK's nuclear-armed submarines. The 34-year-old man and 31-year-old woman are due to appear in court on Monday. The number of cases linked to the meningitis outbreak in Kent has risen again. That's according to the UK Health Security Agency. 5 more cases of the infection were confirmed today, taking the total to 34. 2 people have already died and thousands are being vaccinated. Saba Chowdhury is in Canterbury for us. And Saba, the number of cases is creeping up. How are people there reacting?
Good evening, Sameena. Well, here in Kent, it is day 4 of the targeted vaccination rollout following the outbreak of meningitis B. Today, hundreds of people have been coming to the various vaccination centres across the county in order to get their jab. Some as early as 5 a.m, saying it's better to be safe than sorry. Naturally, people are worried here, Sameena, especially considering just last week 2 students from the area contracted the disease and died. And so it comes as no surprise. The NHS in Kent have been busy. There are so far 34 people being treated for meningitis in hospital. 23 of those cases are confirmed. Over 5,800 jabs have been administered, and 11,000 antibiotics have also been given out in order to stop the transmission and to prevent new cases. Now, earlier we spoke to a number of staff and students at the University of Kent in order to really get a flavour of whether they think the next step is a national vaccine rollout.
People are, again, feeling a bit better about the fact that we can get the vaccination for free as well, which I think is very important. I think it should be done nationally.
But you don't think a national rollout's needed?
No, I don't think so, no. Because of how careful everyone has been in Canterbury, a national rollout, I think, would be a little bit extreme.
Now, the UK HSA, the UK Health Security Agency, I should say, have said that it's vital that people are aware of the symptoms, but they have really stressed that the risk to the wider population, Sameena, remains low.
Saba, thank you. And there has been a separate isolated case of meningitis in Wigan, more than 200 miles away, where a 6th form student is being treated. Health authorities say there is no connection with the Canterbury outbreak. Now, it is one of the most famous dates in British history, 1066 and the Battle of Hastings, taught to every pupil. But is the story correct? Well, new research may suggest otherwise. Sam Holder has more.
Arguably the most consequential battle in British history, and certainly one of the most reenacted and studied. But nearly 1,000 years on, it turns out we may have been getting a crucial part of the Battle of Hastings wrong. For those who need a history reminder, as recounted in the Bio Tapestry, in 1066 the English King Harold II led his forces into battle against Norman invaders and lost. Until now, scholars believed Harold had marched his men for around 10 days by foot from Yorkshire down to Sussex after the Battle of Stamford Bridge against Norwegian invaders. Historians blamed the march in part for the defeat, but now a leading professor claims that actually they travelled by boat.
In two early Latin accounts of the battle, the two earliest accounts we have, the most detailed I should say, we are told that Harold sent hundreds of ships around the south coast to trap William in October. So there have been these references to fleets which historians haven't really explained. And once you accept that he had a fleet, then it all makes sense.
He says too much trust was placed on Victorian historians who hadn't properly translated the original sources. Perhaps for the next reenactment, they'll need to build some boats. Sam Holder, ITV News.
Tributes are being paid to the actor Nicholas Brendan, who has died aged 54.
This is Ford, my bestest friend of all my friends.
He was best known for playing Xander alongside Sarah Michelle Gellar in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. His family say he died in his sleep of natural causes, and they are heartbroken. Football and Liverpool's Premier League form is still struggling to match their European exploits. Last year's champions missed the chance to climb into the top four today after a 2-1 defeat at Brighton. Chris Scudder was watching.
Through to the Champions League quarter-finals, but there was little to smile about here. Liverpool's only goal came from Lewis Dunk's mistake, though neatly anticipated and executed by Milos Kerkez. The Seagulls, and they were about to steal more than Liverpool's lunch. They should have seen it coming. Aerial raiding party and a simple tap-in for Welbeck's second to win the game. Overlooked by England, but he's now scored more Premier League goals this season than any other English striker. For Liverpool, a great week in Europe, but...
The controversial football VAR system looks set to be introduced at Wimbledon this year. Organisers say it will allow players to challenge umpire judgment calls and check other scenarios. And finally, they were the kings of pop, K-pop in fact, and now after serving compulsory military service, they're back. Will Tullis reports on the BTS billion-dollar comeback bandwagon.
We're back. The moment BTS fans have been dreaming of for 4 long years. The undisputed kings of K-pop back, breaking their hiatus with a full-capacity concert in the South Korean capital. They are, by many metrics, the world's biggest boy band, with tens of billions of streams, taking Korean culture to a global audience. While mandatory military service had, until today, forced the band to pause their projects, on the streets of Seoul, a different type of soldier, the BTS Army, as their fans are known, were out in full force, coming from far and wide to show their support.
I'm traveling from California. I came for 3 days to enjoy the comeback concert.
This comeback means for us just being together, celebrating them, celebrating the new era.
Following Friday's release of their new album, Arirang, the band will now go on a world tour, expected to generate more than £1 billion. Some predict it could even eclipse the $2 billion made by Taylor Swift's Eras tour. BTS are back on the world stage, and they're bringing Korean culture with them. Will Tullis, ITV News.
Lots of happy fans, and that's it. The late news is at 11. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.